The victory was huge. And the winners of India's 17th Lok Sabha elections had every reason to celebrate. But behind the frenzied celebrations is the story of what it takes to make it possible for India's citizens to exercise their democratic right. So for a moment, let's forget the politics and the candidates. Let's focus on the unsung heroes. Close to 1.4 crores of them who make it all happen.
All my life, I have not seen something as gigantic as this.
Teams work tirelessly for months, reaching out to everyone, regardless of who they are, what they do, and where they live. Because every voter matters. It's also the story of us, the people of India, who turned out in the greatest numbers ever recorded in human history. Together, over 60 crore Indians, each proudly wearing a simple ink stain, showed that we are the world's biggest democracy. To understand India, you have to understand her statistics, and that's where things get complicated. Seriously, it's completely over the top. Consider our population. There are over 130 crores of us. That means 1 in every 6 people in the world lives in India. Of that number are over 91 crore registered voters, of whom about 43 crore are women, and 8.4 crore first-time voters, which means there are more voters in India than there are people in all the countries of Europe, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Sri Lanka, and Singapore. In some places, these voters are densely packed together. How dense? Try this. Just the total voting population of Mumbai and Delhi is equivalent to the entire population of Australia. And so if you had to describe how gigantic a task conducting elections in India is, it would go something like this. The organizers must make it possible for over 91 crore voters spread over 32 lakh square kilometers who speak in 22 official languages and close to 2,000 local dialects to cast their vote in more than 10 lakh polling stations spread over more than 700 districts in 29 states and 7 union territories to elect 543 members to the Lok Sabha from over 650 political parties and 8,000 individuals contesting. Phew! But wait, it gets even more complicated. Every polling station must be no more than 2 kilometers from any voter's home. That's easy to implement in our cities. But in a country of scorching deserts, high freezing mountains, impenetrable rainforests, and countless other remote locations, this makes the Indian elections a project like no other. When you think of far-flung locations, the Himalayas come to mind. The Spiti Valley of Himachal Pradesh has the world's highest polling station at Tashigang. Fortunately, it's connected by a highway. But there are some places in the state where no roads go. The Great Himalayan National Park is much harder to get to. Spread over 1,000 square kilometers, it's stunningly beautiful, but remote. In the settlements here, unconnected by road, life is tough. Meet Bhagyachand, the Pradhan or headman of the area with just over 80 eligible voters. Among them, in Shakti village, is one of India's oldest voters, 108-year-old Shari Devi, a local legend.
श्रीमती शाही देवी का मैसेज ये है कि वोट देना जो है कभी मना नहीं करना। ये देश और प्रदेश के विकास के लिए है और जो हमारा शासन और प्रशासन जो है वो इसे कायम रहता है।
It's a long way to bring the election process too, but for this handful of people, democracy is as important as anywhere else in India. Far away in posh South Delhi, some take their comforts for granted. First-time voters like Aditya may not seem to spend too much time thinking about who wins or loses in the great election game, that is.
I can't decide, to be honest, if I'm going to vote or not. Where I come from, my place of privilege, my age, the general mindset is that Will it make us a difference? So that also in turn leads to a larger question. Will it make a difference overall if I put my vote in?
First-time voters, indifferent or not, are a huge segment of India's electorate. They must be included as well. Not all of Delhi's 2 crore inhabitants have it easy. Like Rihanna and her community who have faced marginalization for centuries.
इससे पहले मैं जब वोट देने जाती थी तो हमें दिक्कतें आती थी वोट देने जाने में, तो और जब हम अंदर जाते थे फीमेल लाइन में लग रहे हैं तो वहाँ पे मेल देख के हंस रहा है, और जब हम मेल लाइन में लगते थे तो फीमेल देख के हंसती थी, तो ये सब इश्यूज थे.
Rihanna is working towards removing the stigma attached to the third gender. Her dream is for mainstream society to accept them, not as male or female, but as third genders. It's not just the third gender who face discrimination. In Varanasi, a city thousands of years old, the ritual cremation of the dead is a profession carried out by generations of men like Pawan Chaudhary.
समाज के हिसाब से ही हम लोग को काम करना है, तो उसी आधार पे पूरा हम लोग काम करते हैं, जलाते हैं, चीता लगाते हैं, हम लोग अग्नि देते हैं तो लोगों को मोक्ष मिलता है.
His community too has traditionally faced exclusion from mainstream society. But democracy must be inclusive. Wayanad in Kerala has villages deep inside the jungle. The resident tribal population here live with the looming danger of natural elements and the threat of Maoist insurgents. Yet another challenge to the organizers of the Great Indian Election. So who are the organizers? The Election Commission of India, a very small group who steer the biggest logistics event on the planet.
The biggest surprise of this Indian elections is that we are maybe about 560 people sitting here, and we get transformed into a force of huge 13 to 14 million.
The Commission is the nerve center of a massive network that stretches across India, a work structure set in place since 1950.
I think a lot of wisdom resided in our founding fathers of our constitution, because they envisaged an organization which is sufficiently empowered by the constitution, which can draw upon the resources of the state, which can also draw upon the resources of the people of this country in order to transform itself into a gigantic machine.
Their main focus is to deliver free and fair elections. But today the Commission also works on increasing voter turnout. Their motto, no voter to be left behind. And to that end, they drive a massive outreach effort called the Systematic Voters Education and Electoral Participation, or SWEEP. This time around, they've created a nationwide campaign that celebrates the event as India's great festival. Elections are a celebration of democracy, so there's enough reason to make a song and dance about it. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Himachali music. With only weeks to go for the polls, this happy bunch is on a mission.
भारतीय निर्वाचन आयोग द्वारा एक कार्यक्रम चलाया जाता है पूरे भारतवर्ष में. ये प्रयास रहता है कि हर लोगों तक पहुंचा जाए, उन्हें जागरूक किया जाए इस विषय पर, उन्हें बताया जाए कि मतदान जो है उनका अधिकार है और उन्हें जो है उस मतदान का प्रयोग करना है. तो उसी तरह से ये भी हमारे एक देश का त्यौहार है, बहुत बड़ा त्यौहार है, और इसमें भी हर आदमी की सहभागिता होना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है.
In Kerala, it's warmer and the performers younger. But the goal is the same, to encourage every eligible Indian to vote. North or south, singing and dancing gets attention, and comedy spices things up.
जो भाषा का इस्तेमाल हम लोग करते हैं, उन डायलॉगों को हम लोग इस तरह से मिक्स करते हैं कि वो लोगों के दिलों तक एकदम से पहुंच जाएं.
The Kerala girls have a well-rehearsed gig, cool choreography and a specially written song. It's even been made into a music video.
ഇലക്ഷൻ്റെ ചൂട് അടുത്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്, നല്ല ചൂടിൽ നിൽക്കുന്ന ഒരു സമയമാണ്. അപ്പം ഒരുപാട് പേര് ഈ ഉൾപ്രദേശങ്ങളിലൊക്കെ താമസിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അവർക്ക് എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ചൊരു ബോധവൽക്കരണം നടത്തുക, പിന്നെ കന്നി വോട്ടർമാരെ വോട്ടിങ്ങിലേക്ക് കൊണ്ടുവരിക, അവരെ ഉയർത്തിക്കൊണ്ടുവരിക, അവർക്കും ജനാധിപത്യത്തിൽ ഒരു പങ്കാളിത്തം നൽകുക എന്ന ലക്ഷ്യത്തോടെയാണ് ഞങ്ങളിത് ചെയ്തത്.
Thousands of kilometers up north, the mohallas of Old Delhi are also abuzz. Accompanied by Rehana, a team of Election Commission officials will meet with members of the third gender community.
We started a special enrollment drive for the third gender during the current preparatory mode of the general elections 2019. Idea came to us because we realized that the tally stood at just 72, whereas the expected number should be much more.
Rehana and 38,000 registered voters of her community across India have reason to be happy. For the first time, a special focus has been given to them. Voter lists now include categories for male, female and the third gender.
ट्रांस वोटर में फर्स्ट टाइम है, इससे पहले मैंने 2 बार वोट दिया, वो भी अपनी पुरानी आइडेंटिटी से दिया है. मेरी पहचान है, मैं उससे अब की बार वोट डाल के आऊँगी, तो मेरे को उसकी बहुत ज़्यादा खुशी है. और सिर्फ मुझे ही नहीं, मेरी सारी बहनों को बहुत ज़्यादा खुशी है जिनके अब की बार फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर भी बने हैं और वो फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स भी.
Not just the right to vote, but a sense of identity. And I think that really makes me feel very happy as an individual, as a human being and as a civil servant.
In the high-profile constituency of Varanasi, the atmosphere is festive at the historic Assi Ghat. One of the largest voter outreach programs in the city gets underway. Volunteers join the party, among them children.
तो इस इलेक्शन को हम लोग एज ए फेस्टिवल पूरा मना रहे हैं और बनारस में हम लोगों ने 5,000 दिए हम लोगों ने यहाँ लगाए हैं. तो इसको बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग और कलरफुल बनाने के लिए हम लोग ये प्रयास कर रहे हैं कि लोग देखें और उत्साहित होकर के बूथ पे जाए.
Hip meets historic as a local band rocks the ancient riverbank. It's not far from the cremation ghats where Pavan Chaudhary lives. It's an open invitation from the Election Commission and he joins in. With nightfall, Assi Ghat lights up. The great Indian festival has begun. Months before polling begins, a frenzy takes hold of India. Campaigning in our country is legendary. Outdoor advertising, one-on-one canvassing, road shows, rallies with movie star appearances, artists, performances. It's India's great festival. Unlike any other nation, this mega election has about 650 political parties contesting. More than 8,000 individuals fighting for only 543 electoral seats. The great democratic show is inescapable and costly. This is the world's most expensive election. In 2014, political parties spent an estimated 30,000 crores. This time, the spend is expected to double.
While we have limits for candidates, in the Lok Sabha elections, it is 70 lakhs per candidate, and for smaller states, it's 54 lakhs. But for political parties, there is no ceiling, so they can spend as much as they want.
To keep a tab on what's going down, candidate behavior is closely watched under a set of guidelines known as the Model Code of Conduct. The Election Commission monitors speeches, advertising campaigns, expenses and any violations. Ensuring free and fair elections requires a massive police presence. In North Delhi, a pre-election police briefing is underway. District Commissioner of Police Nupur Prasad knows that her force is not big enough. She will need many, many more for what lies ahead. As the election progresses, phase by phase, region by region, local police must requisition forces from other states. Overall, 20 lakh state and central armed police forces gather. That's bigger than any military deployment since World War II. Today's agenda: get out there and make your presence felt. The Area Domination March is designed to deter.
They do foot patrolling in the area to instill the confidence amongst the people so that they should not feel any kind of fear.
Look out! A sea of khaki has flooded the streets.
We have a list of bad characters in the area. We have to keep a check on them on daily basis so that they should not indulge in any kind of illegal activity which can influence the election.
2,500 kilometers south, the Kerala police are as vigilant. Officers search for illegal cash and other goods that could be used to induce voters. In 2019, 3,400 crores worth of illegal cash and contraband intended to induce voters was seized. 80,000 kilos of drugs worth over 1,200 crore rupees have been recovered countrywide. Almost 2 crore litres of alcohol, enough to fill almost 8 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Over 6,200 kilos of gold and silver, worth almost 1,000 crore rupees. And 800 crores in cash, recovered over a period of only a few months. The electoral battle extends to the virtual world. Often the information being made available is motivated or simply untrue. Dhruv Rathi, himself an internet sensation, has mixed feelings about social media.
On one hand, you can use social media to influence someone positively. On the other hand, you can also use it to propagate hate or spread fake news, for example. And that is very easy to do.
Over 50 crore Indians use the internet. Come election, and social media campaigns aim to influence voters, especially the young.
Political parties use social media as a tool to reach out to youth in many different ways, and one of the ways is that you do not tend to be very political. You can be making jokes on certain politicians. You can make comedy videos, which I think youth are more influenced by. The party which has the most money will obviously reach out to more people, and their narrative will get stuck to people more.
Keeping pace with the changing times and technology, the Election Commission works closely with social media platforms to counter the menace of fake news.
Election Commission has been very proactive about how it needs to deal with social media, and the tech companies have educated the Election Commission on what their platforms are about. Should there be any kind of content which violates election laws, the Election Commission should have a fast-track lane to the social media companies, under due legal process to take down that kind of content. So that has been set up.
With only weeks to go, keeping an eye on social media is only one of the many tasks ahead. Across India, over 1 crore gather to take on the challenge of conducting history's biggest election. With polls just around the corner, a giant force is beginning to assemble.
All the sector officers and master trainers are present.
Over 1 crore government employees across India begin training for the impending storm. 1 crore. That's about 5 times bigger than the Chinese army, the largest force in the world. They come from every branch of government. Teachers, engineers, clerks, accountants, lab assistants, stenographers, bus drivers. Ordinary citizens of India who do an extraordinary job. The unseen, unsung heroes of India's democracy. This time around, the Election Commission is trying harder to include more voters with disabilities. Among the master trainers is Gavendra Kumar. He sensitizes trainees about dealing with the differently abled.
जो डिसेबल्ड लोग अपने घरों से निकल भी नहीं पाते हैं तो उनको वोटिंग बूथ पे लाना बहुत ही मुश्किल काम होता है, क्योंकि परिवार के लोग ही कई बार कहते हैं कि इसके एक वोट से क्या होगा जाके। कोई भी डिसेबल्ड जो है ना वो अपना वोट का अधिकार प्रयोग करे, इसके लिए इलेक्शन कमीशन ने एक विशेष गाइडलाइन तैयार करी है।
The training sessions break into smaller groups. Here, every individual is expected to master the usage of the electronic voting machines, or EVMs. These machine systems are at the heart of modern Indian elections. Electronic voting became standard practice at the turn of the century. This year, close to 25 lakh EVMs will be rolled out from the Electronics Corporation of India and Bharat Electronics factories in Hyderabad and Bangalore. They are designed to record the voter's choice in embedded memory chips. This makes voting and counting faster and more reliable. For the first time, the Election Commission has mandated the use of the Voter Verifiable Paper Audit Trail, or the VVPAT, in all polling stations. This device provides a paper printout confirmation of the vote cast by every individual. Conspiracy theorists have raised doubts about the EVM, but the little device has endured. It has succeeded because of its remarkably simple design. It contains no networking capability, hence hacking is impossible. But before the rise of the machines, voting was carried out by paper ballot. Tons of paper and steel boxes would be transported to and from polling booths. These paper ballots would be mixed in huge drums before being counted to arrive at the results. It all started in 1950, when the Election Commission of India was formed. It was led by Sukumar Sen. The Constitution of India empowered the Commission to conduct elections independently. The EC did not have to take orders from the government. Our Constitution granted voting rights to every Indian above the age of 21, no matter what their gender, religion, caste, community, or socio-economic status. This was pretty radical for those times, considering African Americans weren't allowed to vote until 1965. Some called it the impossible dream. Back then, of India's 17.3 crore voters, 85% were illiterate and 50% were women, many of whom didn't even identify themselves by their own name, but as the wife, widow, or daughter of some man. Even migrants affected by partition had to be included in voter lists. There were rivers to ford and deserts to cross. But India did it all. The impossible dream did become a reality. Almost 7 decades later, it's worth remembering every step of this long journey. Because this commitment to give every adult Indian a vote has kept democracy alive in a subcontinent where it has been under threat. As voting day approaches, polling material distribution centers become a hive of activity. The objective: to equip and allocate teams to set up over 10 lakh polling stations across the nation. A fleet of vehicles is ready to transport polling teams statewide. In Delhi, teams are issued their polling kits. This is in addition to the portable EVMs each team must carry. But they still don't know which polling station they will be going to. That information is kept secret till the very last moment. Team composition is also kept under wraps till after the kits are distributed and location assigned. This ensures no malpractice.
This is the first time that the whole polling team meets each other. So they have never seen each other. There is a good camaraderie that you see around.
No matter where they come from or what their background, they're in it together.
As big as it seems, the nitty-gritties are also equally important. Making a polling kit is again a big task. If you don't do these random checks, it can actually derail the whole election process. There's a checklist. So one person is putting one item number 1. Similarly, item number 30. So this polling kit will go till 30.
In the kit bag are bottles of indelible ink. This 10 milliliter bottle is vital. The ink is manufactured in the Mysore Paints and Varnish factory in Karnataka. In all, 26,000 liters will be used. Fascinated by the sheer size and complexity of Indian elections, a foreign delegation is visiting the South Delhi Distribution Center. Delegations like these have been coming to India since the very first election in 1951. Once more, the world marvels as India readies to deliver a record-setting election in 7 phases. Elections, then and now. The first general election cost the government 10 crore rupees. This time over 3,000 crores. First, there were only 13 lakh officials conducting elections. Now there are 10 times that number. In 1951, there were under 2 lakh polling stations. Today, there are over 10 lakh. Back then, candidates were allowed to spend only 25,000 rupees. Today, they can spend up to 70 lakhs.
Police station number 21, 23, 25.
The Highlanders up in Himachal have just been assigned their polling stations. Like other personnel across India, they're issued kit and they're off. One group has unexpected news. Their orders are to trek to one of the remotest locations in the state. To Shakti, a village deep in the Great Himalayan National Park.
तो जब हमको पता चला कि हमको वहाँ शाक्टी भेजा जा रहा है तो थोड़ा एक्साइटमेंट थी क्योंकि यहाँ आने के लिए सभी कतराते हैं कि इतना दूर कौन चलेगा, बहुत चलने को है। थोड़ा डर भी था कि कैसा रास्ता होगा, कितना दूर होगा।
लोगों से सुना था कि शाक्टी बहुत दूर है, फिर भी 56 साल की उम्र में हमने सोचा कि जब चुनाव आयोग ने हमारे को ड्यूटी सौंपी है, निभाएंगे।
The first leg of the journey is by road. Where the road ends, their trek shall begin. It's only the start of a very long day. In Wayanad, Kerala, this polling party is packing a lot of firepower.
Because of this Maoist presence, we identified 72 polling stations as vulnerable locations, and we are planning to deploy 5 companies of armed forces to manage the election affairs.
They are off to set up a polling station in jungle terrain, threatened by militant insurgents. Despite the risks, they are determined to bring elections to the small tribal village of only 58 voters, because every voter matters. For the Himachal team, it's the end of the road. From here on, they must trek. But Mother Nature seems to have other plans.
जैसे हम वहाँ पहुँचे, ऊपर से बहुत तेज बारिश हो रही थी, तो हमें लगभग 1.5 घंटा गाड़ी में रुकना पड़ा। बाहर ही नहीं निकल पाई, इतनी तेज बारिश हो रही थी।
The team have nearly 20 kilometers to walk, mostly uphill. An estimated 7 hours of trekking, and it's already 3 in the afternoon. Less than 4 hours of daylight remain. The pressure is on. In Wayanad, the polling team have reached their destination. A primary school building will serve as their polling booth. Support staff mount temporary lights and communication lines. Meanwhile, the security contingent set up a perimeter, in line with the threat perception. These men knew that their location would be remote. But remote was an understatement. High up in Himachal Pradesh, there's a break in the rain. The team loads the voting equipment onto some locally hired mules. It's threatening to pour again, but the team has no choice. It will be dark in a few hours. The adventure begins. Despite aching legs, the team treks deeper into the Sanj Valley, into the forests of the Great Himalayan National Park. The Sanj River provides refreshment, but the team can't hang out too long. It's still a long way to go. Himalayan weather is unpredictable. It rains time and again. Daylight fades from the valley. But by nightfall, the team is only halfway. A small group of ordinary Indians making a mighty push to reach a tiny handful of villagers in the spirit of inclusion and democracy. The jungle outpost in Wayanad, Kerala is lit up. They're almost ready with the polling booth set up. Outside, the security staff remain alert. An insurgent attack at this time could be devastating. Thankfully, the only eyes looking at them in the dark are friendly. But the night is dark and full of danger. For the Election Commission, every vote matters despite all odds. Deep in Gujarat's Gir National Park, home to Asiatic lions, is a polling station for only one voter. Pilopatia polling station in the Andaman Islands, a 24-hour journey that uses 4 different boats to reach just 9 voters. A 3-day trek to set up a polling booth at Gyapin village in Kurumkume, Arunachal Pradesh. Over 18 lakh personnel from the armed forces, police and government services away from their homes cast their votes via postal ballot. In the mountains of the Great Himalayan National Park, Bhagyachand's family want to look their best. It's an important day. Their son will join them as a first-time voter. For young Aditya, going to the polling booth this morning is the coolest choice to make. Rehana is just as eager to go out and exercise her democratic right. Today, Pawan Chaudhary is not part of a marginalized community. His vote matters just as much as anyone else's. In the polling stations in the jungle of Wayanad, one by one, the 58 eligible voters come to exercise their choice. The threat of insurgents will not deter them. 3,000 kilometers north, Bhagyachand leads his extended family to the polling station in Shakti. He calls others to join, but they won't cast their votes just yet. First, they shall visit a very special person. Shari Devi is among the oldest voters in the country. According to the electoral list, she is 108 years old. But age is just a number. What's important is that she's been a regular voter for decades.
चाहे वो एक पंचायत का इलेक्शन हो, चाहे वो एक विधानसभा का इलेक्शन हो, चाहे वो एक लोकसभा का इलेक्शन हो, श्रीमती शारी देवी हर बारी जब इलेक्शन आते हैं तो अपने वोट को देती आ रही है.
She's quite the celebrity, and today the villagers will carry Shari Devi to the polling station to cast her vote before they do. Shari Devi may have never seen a car, nor even a road in her incredibly long life. But her faith in democracy remains steadfast. All eyes are on one of Himachal's oldest citizens as she reaches the polling station, an inspiration to the others in the village. Among them are first-time voters. The difference in their age is close to 90 years. Across different phases, India's voters head for the polls, the largest number ever. In India's capital, Rehana has come to vote with her mother. She has voted twice before, but this is Rehana's first time as a third gender, her true identity. Aditya, who almost didn't care, now proudly comes to exercise his democratic right. Pawan Chaudhary has travelled from the cremation ghats to his polling booth. He too will make his vote count. The great national festival plays out its last pageant. Once more, Indian voters shall show the world that the will of the people is supreme. Old and young, the fit and the infirm, from different cultures and religions, India, the world's largest democracy, comes together. In Shakti village, it's a carnival-like atmosphere. They've been waiting for their village elder to vote.
इस मतदान केंद्र की सबसे बुजुर्ग महिला शाड़ी देवी जी आई, उनका जोश देखते बनता था और मुझे बहुत खुशी है कि मैं उनको मतदान करवाने में मेरा भी उसमें छोटा सा योगदान है।
बहुत अच्छा लगा कि एक इतनी बुजुर्ग महिला जो हमारी दादी नानी के बराबर एक वोट दे सकती है।
Like Shari Devi, the rest of India across different phases and locations gets down to voting. The act of voting is short and simple. First, a check if the voter's name is on the electoral list. Once that's done, you wait your turn. Next, a dab of indelible ink is applied to the left index finger. The secret mix of dyes and chemicals, including silver nitrate, takes many days to wear off. In use since the first election, this is a safeguard against any attempts to vote more than once in the same election. Behind a compartment, you cast your vote in private.
Well, internally I feel proud of what I've done. Internally I feel like I lived up to what I was expected to do. And if I take pride in living in a democratic nation, and I have to be part of the system.
This simple act empowers crores of Indians and shapes the destiny of India.
इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया ने इतना किया हमारे लिए, हम लोगों के लिए, एज अ ह्यूमन राइट हमारे लिए भी अब अधिकार है वोट डालना, और वो हमें मिल रहा है।
ऐसा लगता है कि आज जो है एक त्योहार जो है इस मतदान केंद्र के आसपास में जैसे खिला हुआ है।
तो वहाँ पे जाने के बाद अपने आप को महसूस हुआ कि हम लोग किसी से अलग नहीं हैं। वहाँ पे जातिवाद, जात कास्ट कुछ नहीं, सब एक बराबर थे हम लोग वहाँ पे। गए, बहुत अच्छा फील हुआ अपने को।
For most voters, the highlight of polling day is the picture of the iconic inked finger, a symbol of pride. But take another look behind the inked finger. Each face tells a different story. For some, it's about finding identity. For some, accepting responsibility. For others, being accepted. For millions, it's about being patriotic. But for all Indians universally, it must eventually be about hope. Hope that a government for, of, and by the people will lead their nation into a brighter future. In Shakti, there are no more voters in sight. Most voting booths are scheduled to shut for the day by 6 p.m. But for the team, like all their compatriots across India, there is still no rest. Closing a polling booth requires the proper shutdown of the electronic voting machines, which are then sealed according to set guidelines. The wax seals are duly stamped, only to be opened in designated centers on counting day. The Himachal team must return to base, however late it gets. They have a 5-hour walk and only 30 minutes of daylight left. In their boxes are the hopes and aspirations of the people of this faraway corner of India. The team know that this day was a day well spent. This was a record-setting election of many firsts. Over 60 crore Indians came out to vote, the highest number ever recorded in the world. Female voters created history. They reduced the gender gap to a tiny 0.1%. In other words, the number of women who voted almost equaled the number of men. For the first time, voter verifiable paper audit trails or VVPATs were used in all polling stations across India. The Nizamabad constituency created history with 12 EVMs in each booth, as voters had to choose from a whopping 185 candidates. Phase by phase, voting is over, but that's only half the job done. There's still a long way to go. Polling officials return, carrying precious cargo, electronic voting machines that hold the results of India's 17th Lok Sabha elections. They assemble at designated centers to hand over the EVMs. Tired, but not done yet. In all, 25 lakh sealed machines are deposited in strong rooms and locked away. The next we will see them is on counting day. It's not just election officials who are working overtime. News desks and presenters have been stretched to the limit.
And the results will be coming from 8 a.m. onwards.
There's no better place to wait for the election results than in the nation's power center, New Delhi. All over India, strong rooms have been closely guarded 24/7. Today, they will be opened. At the appointed hour, electronic voting machines are carried to counting rooms. The men wear color-coded t-shirts, different colors for different rooms. The counting rooms are designed for public viewing. Officials occupy the center. Members of political parties and public watch from behind wire screens. Each room also has an enclosure for news crews, ready to capture every moment. It's like a live reality game show. And the stakes couldn't be higher. Events unfold in quick time. The boxes are handed over, intact seals are checked, then EVMs removed and displayed to the media and public. Each EVM is opened and its vote count retrieved.
3, 2, 1, the countdown has officially begun.
Candidate 6-0.
The result of each machine is manually transcribed onto paper forms. These forms are handed over to senior counting officers. As EVMs keep coming, changing totals are updated on boards. This process carries on in nearly 4,000 counting centers across India. Simultaneously, the national voter turnout was 67.47%. That's over 60 crore votes. And this mammoth number is collated in most centers in less than 24 hours, faster than any other country in the world. The news emerging is sensational. In a matter of hours, the writing is on the wall. One political party has won a landslide mandate. In the offices of the Bharatiya Janata Party, the celebrations have already begun. And so our story comes full circle. While the winners rejoice, we ask you to remember how India got to this incredible milestone. Close to 1.4 crore Indians worked together, and in turn over 60 crore citizens, in all their diversity, came together in human history's biggest election. So when you think of who won this election, isn't it obvious? India did.